Imagine waking up one morning to find the skill you've spent years mastering is no longer a viable career. A machine now does it faster, cheaper, and more accurately than you ever could. The demand for the work hasn't disappeared, you've simply been replaced as the source of it. For millions of people, this transition is already underway. Everyday automation tools are now writing marketing copy, coding new software, designing digital graphics, and analyzing complex datasets. This forces us to ask a difficult question. If algorithms can provide the same utility we do, what is left for us to contribute? Most public discussion focuses on total job losses and mass unemployment, but that perspective overlooks how this technology actually integrates into the economy. There's a common assumption that automation is a rising tide that will drown every profession at the same rate. In reality, the water level is extremely uneven. To see where the danger lies, we have to look at how work is structured. Automation targets value built on repetition and learnable patterns. A career's resilience in this environment depends on a single factor: the level of routine in the daily output. Looking at past technological leaps helps clarify why this current moment feels so disruptive. The machines of the Industrial Revolution were designed to replace physical labor. They automated the heavy lifting and the mechanical repetition of the factory floor. Later, the first wave of computers focused on the distribution of information. They took over large-scale calculation and the basic record-keeping that defined the 20th century office. In both instances, as specific tasks were automated, the labor market shifted. New industries emerged, and the individuals who moved into those new spaces saw their wealth increase. But we are now seeing something different. Machines are no longer just moving objects or sorting data. They are performing cognition. Because human thought is being commodified, a complex business plan or a software script can be generated in seconds. The cost of generating a new idea is effectively dropping to zero. The logic behind this shift is driven by the corporate need for efficiency. If a company can achieve the same results with software that it currently gets from 5 employees, the financial incentive to automate becomes impossible to ignore. This puts any role built on predictable data processing in the crosshairs. If your workday involves following a set of established rules to organize information, a machine can be trained to mirror that process. We see this in language translation and basic content creation. When the work is isolated and follows a known structure, it becomes easy for an algorithm to replicate the output. Roles once considered safe white-collar jobs, like data entry and customer support, now face a similar reality. The more uniform the task, the more vulnerable the worker. There is, however, a category of work that remains difficult to automate. These are tasks requiring strategy, complex decision-making, and high levels of emotional intelligence. If a job requires navigating human nuance and providing leadership in uncertain situations, the value of that human contribution actually increases as the simpler tasks around it become automated. We are watching a divide form in the workforce. On one side, people are seeing their skills devalued. On the other, individuals are leveraging new tools to achieve more than ever before. The person who treats this technology as a threat often finds themselves struggling to keep up. As their industry adopts these tools, their traditional methods become too slow and too expensive to compete. Meanwhile, others are using these tools to amplify their own reach. By offloading the routine mental work, one person can now manage the output that used to require a full department. This creates a unique situation in the market. As machine-generated content becomes common, traits like empathy, vision, and human storytelling become rare and significant assets. The financial rewards of this era are shifting toward those who combine human strengths with machine speed. Even the software engineers who build these tools aren't guaranteed a share of that wealth. It belongs to the people who use the technology to scale their ideas. A gap is widening between those who are learning to direct these algorithms and those who are simply being entertained by them. History shows that the greatest gains go to those who recognize a shift early. The people who explored the internet in its infancy were positioning themselves for a future the rest of the world hadn't yet seen. This specific opportunity to move first won't last. As these tools become a standard part of every office and home, the advantage of knowing how to use them will diminish. Technology acts as a multiplier for whoever uses it. It can erode the value of the unprepared, but for those who use it to amplify